All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dunk Top episode 40. My name is Dylan Haugen, and I'm a 5'11", 17-year-old dunker from Minnesota. And today we've got a very special guest, guys. So first, we got to get to our co-host, and then we get to Dan.
Hey guys, Hunter Castona here, 6'1" dunker from Wisconsin. Like I said, we have a very special guest, and not from the US, from overseas, and that's Dan. So Dan, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
G'day guys, I'm Daniel Castellani or Dan Dunks, 6'3" dunker from Melbourne, Australia.
Yes, sir, guys. So Dan has been going crazy recently, been hitting some crazy dunks. So I thought we'd get him on here to talk about his journey. So just kind of introing it. What were some of the sports you did as a kid, whether it be basketball or other sports? Just kind of what is your athletic background?
Um, I generally like my athletic background was mainly from basketball. I played basketball probably since I was like 6 years old. So like I love playing the sport and um, it like throughout like high school and throughout primary school as well. Well, I wasn't so much into like track and field, but I always performed like pretty well in those. Um, I think I had like a little bit of a blessing from like my parents because both my parents did a decent bit of track and field back in their day. So I guess that's where a bit of the bounce comes from.
Yeah, bro, it was like the two best sports to be good at for dunking, so that's really cool. But yeah, so just kind of talk about like what got you into dunking, whether you had some specific inspirations, whether it be like NBA guys or NBL guys or just professional dunkers in general. Just kind of what got you into dunking.
I was, and I never thought I was going to be like good enough to like do like some of the pro dunks. I think it was when I was in eighth grade. I saw like Jonathan Clark and Jordan Kilgannon and those sort of blokes. And they're like going crazy and doing things I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even dream of. And I never thought that I would be like able to do anything close to what they can do. Um, but I would say they would be like some of my biggest inspirations. Like coming up in like my dunk journey. Um, throughout like throughout high school, I was more focused on playing basketball and just like getting better at that. Um, and then like it was it wasn't until it was in my eighth grade year that I like touched rim for the first time, and I was like, oh, yeah, like because I always had like a dream of like being able to dunk. Like since I was really really young, I remember like the doctor's office, like the with my mum. I think I was like 7 or something like that, and the doc was like saying you're gonna be like what 6'4" or something like that. And I was like, yes, mom, I'm gonna be able to dunk, and she just smiled, cracked up, and that. But I presumed that like I would have to wait until I was like 18 or like even older to do that. So when I like grabbed rim in eighth grade, I was like, you know what, this might be possible a lot earlier than I thought. And from there, I like as soon as I like touched a rim for the first time in eighth grade, I just started like doing all these like random workouts, squatting like hundreds of times, just like body weight squat, um, and just trying to do whatever I could to get like my bounce up. I didn't know anything about technique as well, so I was really just like jumping without like any proper form. But eventually, like from like basketball, like sort of teaching me those like motor patterns and that, um, I ended up getting like my first dunk at the end of that year, which I was like quite proud of.
So yeah, eighth grade.
Yep,
How old are you then?
I was 14.
Yeah, that's crazy young, bro. You know how tall you were at that time?
I was about, I'd say like 6 foot. Like I grew pretty fast, pretty early. I
Yeah.
was all, oh, sorry, no, I was always tall. I was always tall, like for my height, also
Yeah.
for my age.
Uh, Yeah, I know a lot of people kind of once they get their first dunk, some of them can kind of like stray away and just think like, oh, I can dunk now, I'm good. But where like what did you do like shortly after that? Did you continue to kind of like do those random workouts and stuff and continue to trying to progress, or did you just kind of like were you just like kind of happy with where you were at? Or just how was, the rest of high school like for you progress wise?
Uh, I always wanted to get better. Like it was, I got my first dunk and I was like crazy happy with that, but I wanted to like make it consistent. And I wanted to get better. Um, as I like progressed, I did continue doing those workouts for a little while. I was recommended to do by like this, I don't know, I think it was like a basketball trainer or whatnot. He taught me a bunch of like ACL rehab exercises that were really good for like balance, tendon stiffness, and coordination. And they probably like increased my vert by quite a few inches just by, and they'll just body weight stuff. But that I had such a young training age that it wouldn't really matter like what I did. I would have probably improved. But that did help me like learn how to land properly, better motor patterns, and also like keeping like more balanced in my jumps, which was quite valuable. Um, as I guess progressed through high school, I I don't remember when I hit my first like two hander. It was probably a long like quite a few months after because I hit like a after I hit my first dunk, I sort of like plateaued a little bit and I wasn't really getting like close or like lob wasn't right, all sorts of stuff. Um, and I I went to like a few training camps, and that's where like I started seeing like other people who were like a little bit older than me, like dunking, and that sort of gave me a little bit more added motivation. Um, in and that this is going into like my ninth grade year, and in ninth grade, I think I hit my first one hander off 1 foot because traditionally I was like 2 foot by nature. Um, but like I sort of sorry, I initially started with 1 foot back when I was in primary school, but I just I guess I forgot how to do it because I hadn't done it in quite a while, and 2 foot just took over, and then I would try to learn how to do 1 foot a bit better. Um, and then I think at the end of that year, so that would have been my ninth grade year, going into 10th grade. I started to like my like bounce started to like increase quite a bit. I think I hit my first windmill, I hit my first 360, and I hit my first back scratcher like end of that year, going into next year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so at that time, were you kind of like considering pro dunking at all, or was it really just kind of like trying to get better, get better balance just for basketball in general?
Just better bounce for basketball. I didn't, I still didn't think that like doing like dunk contests or like becoming a pro dunker was anywhere like on the cards. So yeah, I was very much focused on just like improving bounce for basketball. Um, going from I guess tenth grade was like a little bit slow. I guess I didn't really hit anything too much more complex, but I was definitely trying harder things. I think around that time I started like trying to like go for it between the legs and like 360 windmills and stuff like that. But it was more, I guess, like just testing the waters. Like when you're like you're not close on 10, but you just want to get like good reps in to sort of see what it feels like. It was just like that sort of thing. Um, and I still up until this point I still hadn't like touched a weight like properly. Like I did like maybe some stuff at school, but it nothing serious, not no like proper programs. Um, and then in 11th grade was when like COVID hit, and so I was like stuck. I was stuck at home doing nothing, like, and I was just getting bored out of my mind. But I had like a thought where I was like, if this like comes to like fruition and it's like we get out of COVID, because like I don't know if you know, but like Melbourne had like one of the worst like in the world. So we're like basically on house arrest for for like 2 years. It was cooked. But yeah, it's I just got a bunch of motivation, and I started like doing a bunch of home workouts, some like ATG inspired stuff. Because like I had a decent bit of knee pain. I think I first got knee pain in like year 10, and I got it got so bad that I couldn't like go downstairs without like 6, 7 out of 10 like knee pain. Like it was really bad. Um, but like yeah, slowly step by step, like started getting like a little bit stronger just through doing like I had like some basic weights and stuff like that, and I was doing workouts that were lasting like 3 hours, and then after that I'd like play basketball for like another two or three, because like I'll just we would like after school I'll just go after online school we'd just go straight to the park and then just do pickup runs until like the sunset. And I do have decently fond memories of that. Formed some decent connections with people that I like quite important to me. Helped me get through a lot of tough times. But yeah. Once I like once in year 11, like once COVID was like sort of starting to like trickle off a little bit, um, and like people were getting a little bit more free in that, um, I started I started going like repping out between the legs a little bit more. And I'd always done it off the dribble up until that point, or like tried to do it off the dribble. And the closest I'd got was like grabbing the rim and like the ball like hit the backboard or something like that. And then one day I was at the park with like with a few of my mates, and I'm like, what if I just like lob the ball instead? Like I don't have to worry about like bringing it up, so I can get like a full arm swing. And then I ended up like back rimming it and top rimming it, and I was like, whoa, like I could really get this. Um, and then still up until this point in COVID, all like the indoor gyms were like closed. So it was outdoor or nothing. Um, and like maybe a few weeks later, like everything started to open back up again. So gyms were back open, and then like my basketball started up again. So like we had like tryouts and stuff like that. And that year in tryouts, like I just got like a huge wave of bounce just because I just completely unloaded from like all my training. So I'd been doing like 3 hour workouts 3 days a week, plus basketball like basically every day. And then I like sort of unloaded from all of that. And then I started jumping like a decent bit higher. Um, and in, yeah, in like the scrimmages and in the drills and stuff like that, like dunking just felt super easy, and I ended up like it was between like breaks, like during the tryout, and I was like feeling good, and I just like punched into East Bay, and like I was like going crazy. I was flipping out, and I mean everyone was looking at me a bit funny, but like I did not care because I was so happy. 'Cause went through all that, just came like I'd been trying it for like easily over a year, so it was so nice to see it go down. And I had backroomed it like a few times beforehand. Um, and like, it was just so nice to see it go down. Um, and then yeah, I sort of after that I started like my bounce started increasing quite a bit, and I was starting to hit more and more East Bays and like more complex stuff like reverse windmills, um, reverse pumps and stuff like that. And I was probably about your age. I was about like 17 at that stage. Um, but like, yeah, I had like, I guess, good basketball player bounce. And like, I looked up to like Ja Morant and like guys like that because I love their style, like the way they get up in the air. And throughout all of this, throughout all these years, I still continued to watch like the pro dunkers and stuff like that, just because like uh, I was like fascinated by just like all the tricks that they were doing. Um, and yeah, so I had finished year 12. Um, I don't remember, but I don't think I hit any considerable. Oh, oh actually, no, I might have. I think yeah, in year 12, I was starting to get a few more like off the dribble East Bays. Um, and I started like trying a few more complex stuff. I think I hit like a 360 between the legs on like a 9-10-ish ring. And I started like trying like some more like complicated stuff, getting like posters and just like in like a sort of A grade league because I still like to play and um I was still playing rep. At that stage, I think I was still playing like three teams or something like that. Um, and yeah, like so that was, I guess, like my high school journey. Like year 12 was just, I guess, the bag was just getting a little bit deeper, but I was still super heavily focused on basketball. Um, it wasn't really until I think first year of uni, um, or college, um, where like I met like was it AP Bouncy, and like he just welcomed like me to this like Melbourne dunk group with like open arms, and I was like really appreciative of that, and um I just I didn't I thought I was gonna like I came in and I was just like I'm just gonna do this for fun. Like, I'm the worst guy here. Um, and I just started like trying some like stuff because it was just a whole different dynamic, but I felt like free to do like to just try and not have any, I guess, pressure or doubts. Um, and yeah, like Archie like believed in me, and so did Liam, so did Steve, and that just helped me like I guess like expand the bag, and I wasn't afraid to try anything, so I just started like leveling up. Um, and one of the things that like I realized was that like learning like new trick dunks and all stuff like that. you can't be afraid to fail, and you got to be willing to, I guess, push yourself and be uncomfortable. Because like I was terrified jumping over someone for like the first time. I found it like the scariest thing. And with like encouragement from the boys, that's where like I started seeing like a lot of growth.
Yeah, bro. So at that time, obviously, I know you said you're still kind of heavy into basketball. So when did you kind of like start taking basketball out and start spending, more time and energy focused specifically on your dunking?
Um, it was probably yeah, it was probably like end of my first year in uni. Um, like basketball was sort of like slipping away as I was getting. It was like it was pretty hard for me because like I love basketball and I still play like up until this day. Like I still have like a men's team that I just play with. But in terms of like taking basketball seriously, like so, like like super seriously in terms of like climbing up the ranks and stuff like that. Um, yeah, that started to slip away as I was getting like exponentially better at dunking. So for me, like I felt like God like opened a door for me, and He was like showing me like like through like the Melbourne boys, like this sort of pathway, and I was like, it would be a shame to like it'd be a shame to not walk through and see what's in store for me because like I feel like it's a pathway that's been opened and shown to me, and it's my job to walk through and make the most of it.
Yeah,
Um,
bro. I think me and Hunter basically the exact same, dude. I basically had the exact same thing happen to me this year, and Hunter had, something similar when he was in high school as well. So yeah, I think it's super cool that, we kind of all have that similarity. But yeah, bro, glad you did that because obviously, now it's been crazy. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know Hunter. I'd say, yeah, Hunter, you were pretty much the same. You just like weren't quite as good at dunking it at the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was I mean, when I actually quit basketball, I was barely windmilling. So, I mean, obviously wasn't the dunker I am now, but and it even took a couple of years just to get to like the dunking status of like literally just dunking. I was just hooping for a little bit and then I went into obviously dunking and that's when I saw a huge amount of growth within like a year or whatever. But yeah, one thing I wanted to ask was there any low rimming that you did up until this point, or is it solely just you trying stuff on actually 10 feet or the highest rim that you could possibly do? Like how was that? And like was there any point like with your buddies like low rimming at all, or was it literally just playing basketball and just trying to dunk on 10?
Yeah, sorry, probably failed to mention that, but yeah, I did do a decent bit of low rearing. I had like a little portable goal, um, and I did like that's where I practiced a lot of like, um, yeah, where I practiced a lot of like technical dunks and stuff like that. Because I'd like mimic like guys like Jay Clark and Chris Staples, T Curry, like the blokes that I looked up to.
Was that kind of like intentional practice for you? Like saying like, oh, well, if I want to hit this on 10, I should probably be practicing it on lower room. Like, was that, just intuitional to you, or was that kind of like just, having fun? Because I know a lot of people just, have fun with it and then eventually they get good enough to do it on 10. And, there's obviously people who do just simply practice as well, but kind of where was that at for you?
It was more it was more just for fun. But like when I started getting closer to like dunks on tens, such as like between legs and windmill, that's where like I would start to really dial in on like low rim practice and like focus on like, oh, if I push the ball a little bit harder, like it sticks into my hand a little bit more. And then if I like flick my fingers over the ring, maybe I can get like this bit closer. Maybe I can make it like that. That's when I started like, so I'd say both.
Yeah, I love it, bro. So kind of going back to what we were just talking about, obviously, you said you're starting to take dunking more seriously, you play basketball less. What was kind of like that transition like for you? Did you, just start dunking, once a week or whatever, or were you also incorporating, stuff like lifting into that as well?
Prob it was before I met up with Archie and Liam and the Melbourne Dunking boys. I actually started THP probably, yeah, it was probably midway through first year uni. And I like because like my tendon pain was like extremely bad. And like I had flare ups in the past, but this wasn't good. And for me, like the biggest thing that was like limiting me in terms of like my jumping ability was just pain. Like I felt like I could jump so much higher, but it was just too painful to, and I couldn't get like deep enough. So I like forked out the money and did THP, and I don't think I missed a single workout for like 6 months at least.
Yeah, bro, definitely. So what was your progress like throughout those 6 months, as you're kind of getting better with knee pain and stuff like that?
I started, well, like my dunk started becoming a lot more consistent. Um, and like I started to dial in my technique, but that was not necessarily from weightlifting, but like I was a bit more in tune with my body. And I guess, yeah, like it was more consistency. I wasn't necessarily jumping like a crazy amount higher, but I was maintaining like pretty peak level like for most of my sessions. So I was jumping pretty well.
Yeah, bro, for sure. So I know you obviously, have started, well, I know you've started to get really consistent actually with some dunks like under both right now, but when just kind of, talk us through some of those, first elite dunks you hit and, just whatever stories can go with those.
Okay. I might get up some go into my photo gallery just so I can remember when. Uh, so,
I feel like you got pretty consistent pretty quick with it too, because I remember you seeing it and or seeing you hit it for the first time and that felt like you were hitting it pretty often. And now seems like it's every week, bro.
well, under both.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I for me at this stage, like right now, under both is like I guess as easy as an East Bay was like a year or so ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is crazy.
But it was more, yeah. I started getting like I guess understanding like the concept of like motor patterns like really well. Um, yeah, like around uh from like I guess in like the first year that I was like with the Melbourne Dunkers. Um, oh, actually, I'll probably go through my Instagram. That's probably uh where I would see like be able to track it a little bit better. Yeah, so around after I met like the Melbourne Dunkers, I started like the trick dunks that I started doing was I think I put a few reps into Jordan Kilgannon's like cannonball. Um, I've only sort of hit it once, but I just didn't really try it too much. I started working on double ups, and I think yeah, it was in October 2022. I hit my first double up. Um, so and then I started working on like more technical stuff. Like I think I was working on like behind the back. Um, and I started getting really good at doing like dunks off like the side of the backboard. Still to this day I couldn't tell you why, but it just clicks with me really well. I was hitting like 360s off the side. Um, uh, and around about that time, I think it was is that early 20, no, still November 2022. I hit my first behind the back. Um, and then I started, yeah, working a little bit, working like more and more because I like seeing like new trick dunks like go down. Just it just inspired me to just really give it a go. I had my first contest around about that time. Didn't do too well. I hit a reverse windmill and like maybe like some simple two-hander, and that was about it. Um, but yeah, I started trying like some like my there's no exactly logical progression. I just started trying like can you see me?
I can hear
No,
you.
yeah, it's not. It's like showing your profile picture.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I started trying like dunks that I I haven't even I was just trying to get like creative with it. I did I guess Jordan Kilgannon's like Sunrise, like not a vert, but I did it like oh it's like similar to like the Michael Purdy one as well, but where you like throw the ball like over the ring and then like finish on the other side. And I was doing dunks that like I was hitting like new dunks that were just in the realm of possible. Like like on my bad days, I like tried dunks that were like a little bit more technical, but didn't like require like a huge amount of vert. So I started hitting like a few of those ones. Um, I hit like a one-legged like I guess it's like a one-legged happy feet. Um, and like I haven't done that in quite a while, but I was like just trying like really random things. Um, and I had my second contest like I think start of the next year. Um, and from from there, uh, yeah, from there I started like working on I guess like my style a little bit. Some slingshots, windmills. I was kind of getting like obsessed with like the Trey Parker self toss. Um, and I was yeah, so I was getting like a little quite a bit more consistent with that. And I think a few months or maybe a month or so later, I hit the whirlwind. Um, so like dunks that like aren't really common. Like I was just giving him a go and I was trying. Um, Inverse like the Michael Purdy spin, like 360 pumps. And just I guess the way that I was like leveling up was like I was working on like stuff like off the wall dunks, off the side, and just like trying to push my limits with like those types of dunks. I hit my first scorpion around about that time. That was like 2023. And from I think it was from there that I started I started understanding it. I understood it now. But but yeah, so but I had probably like my craziest stretch uh around end of end of 2023. where like in the span of like a month, I hit East Bay off the side, uh, East Bay off the board, East Bay two hands, and under both. Yeah, all within like the period of like 6 weeks.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy. All right, so obviously, hit under both, hit some of these other elite dunks. So just kind of real quick, talk us through, those, what other dunks you've hit from that point to today, some of the major trick dunks.
Major trick dunks. I've been like working on the elbows a bit, so like I don't I just didn't really I felt like I was getting high enough, but I was either taking off from the wrong spot and I didn't realize that until a long time after. But yeah, I hit my first elbow dunk. Um and then I was like working on like more technical stuff like I think it was East Bay reverse two hands. Um and I think I hit that like maybe I started trying it like maybe a month before I hit it. Um, I started, I guess, yeah, I started working on more elbow variations. I hit like a windmill elbow and like 9-10 ish. Um, and I started getting like close to like 360 like behind the back, and that's where I started to like really make a push for the black band. And still looking for it. I had a really good session where I hit 4 out of 5 of like the elite dunks. And I just got stuck on 360 between the legs, and I backrimmed it uh, probably like 8 times, to be honest. It was very painful, but yeah, I started getting like really consistent with like scorpions and stuff like that, especially off the lob. Um, in terms of like more technical stuff, like 360 windmill, like off a lob, I started repping that out a bit. Um, what else? I need to check. Remember something too crash hot. Oh, recently I hit an East Bay off 1 foot, which I like.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was cool.
Um, yeah, so like I've been like working on my 1 foot bounce quite a bit. Um, but that was mainly because I had like a quad pull and
Oh yeah.
I still wanted to get like in some good high quality jump reps. Um, I started doing some like fake variations. Like I hit fake behind the back and fake J Rich in like yeah in one session. Um, and I started getting like more consistent with I guess J Rich, and I like J Rich as a dunk. I just like
Same
the
reason.
style.
Yeah.
Um, I guess at this stage, like I had several plateaus with like my training and that. Um, yeah, like I was getting a lot stronger. The strongest I have been right now. Uh, like the THB like helped me like really like up like all my numbers. Like I was like barely like squatting like 60 for 5 back like maybe like 2 years ago. Or that's 60 kg, which is like I think 132 pounds. Um, and yeah, like all my numbers like went like pretty high up. Um, yeah, I was like I'm squatting like in the 300s. Um, like yeah, like well into the 300s.
Yeah. What did you just
Uh,
power clean? I saw you. I saw you posted, you PR, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, funnily enough, yeah, in the with the Perth boys, like they said like come gym, and I've been traveling around quite a bit. I was in Japan not too long ago, and so I'm a little bit, I guess, tapered. I've only been max effort jumping as like my forward training for the last like 3 weeks, just because I've been, yeah, traveling around. Um, but yeah, I was feeling really good and hit like, yeah, 115 power clean, which is like 250, 253, I think. Um, and yeah, I was stuck under 220 for a really, really long time. It took me quite a while to break through that plateau. And also like 308, which is like 308 for back squat, which is like 140 kg.
Yeah, bro. So I know you've done quite a few events, so just kind of walk us through, some of the events you've done and how they've gone for you.
My first contest was shooters shoot, and that was in December, maybe like 2022, I think. Um, I didn't do too well on that. Then my next contest was Summer Jam, which is like the biggest dunk contest in Melbourne. But it was like there's like I guess two rounds. They've got like an international, I guess, contest, and then so like they got the Friday contest, and then like the Saturday or Sunday contest, and the Saturday/Sunday contest is like the really big one. Um, yeah, I didn't. I think I came like third in that one, and then I won my first contest interstate. I flew me and Liam Broad. We flew to Sydney to do a dunk contest. Um, and yeah, I ended up winning that one, but it was probably the worst conditions like imaginable. We were literally dunking in the rain. It was terrible. The court was like I had to. It was just like a drop step into like some really basic stuff. Um, but yeah, they'll like, okay, we can either cancel the contest and none of you are going to get paid, or we can do it right now. And I'm like, oh, flew all this way, may as well. Yeah, so that was the first contest I won, and then the second was, I don't know if it was later that year, actually it might have been. It was Elevate League, and Elevate League was probably one of the craziest experiences because um, I think maybe a month ago I hit my first under both, and Liam and Jack were dunking quite well. Jack like hit like a two-handed windmill like first go, and so he was doing quite well. And then Liam, he missed his windmill and then he had to settle for a safety. I hit a double up X. This was that was first round. Second round, Jack hits an East Bay first attempt, punches it, and then Liam's like, all right, I need to get my bag real quick, and hits like the win second attempt, first time ever done in Australia. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is crazy. Like I gotta, uh, I was like, oh, I gotta really pull something out here. Um, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, I've only hit it once, but who cares? I'm gonna try it because if I don't hit it, I'm gonna lose. Um, and I had a dream before, to be honest, like, but before the contest even started, I was like, you know what? It would be really cool if like I was in a contest, I had my back against the wall, and then I just like pulled out under both, even though I've only hit it once. And then that's exactly what happened. The third attempt, all like all the pressure, um, and yeah, everything went well. Like the ball just like stuck to my hand, and got it through, punched it, and like the crowd reaction was insane. It was insane. I just got enveloped by like a flood of people. It was probably one of my favorite memories dunking. Like that energy was like unparalleled. Um, yeah, and there was like there was a third round, but it was basically a done deal from there. Um, and yeah, so yeah, I won that contest. And the winner of that contest went into the international contest where I dunked with Chris Staples, Tyler Curry, and Gee. Um, and that was a pretty full on experience as well. And like yeah, dunking with those guys, meeting him, talking to him in person, it was really nice. Um, Tyler Curry, he went crazy that contest. Anyway, he made it look so
Yeah,
live. Seeing
dang,
him,
insane.
um,
Yeah, bro.
and I guess yeah, I've probably been in like 5 or 6 contests all up. And I won my latest contest earlier this year. And I think I jumped over 3 and did a few like basic stuff, and after that, and yeah, copped that win. Um, but and yeah, we had like me and Jack. I think me and Jack were in the finals, and Jack's been going crazy recently. I've never met someone with more energy. But yeah, he helps bring out the best.
Yeah, bro. Don't let's kind of wrap it up. Just talk about some of your goals, whether it be, specific dunks, weight room goals, contests, just whatever, bro.
Okay. Um, Contests. I want to get into the international summer jam contest. Long-term goals. I definitely want to make like the FIBA scene. Um, I reckon, I reckon that like right now, I'd be good enough to compete. Um, I may not win, but I definitely feel with like maybe not with like the top dogs, I guess, but um, I reckon I could stand like a decent chance in like the FIBA circuit right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
I yeah, for in terms of weight room goals, I want to be squatting like 405, 405 plus. Power clean, I want to work up to uh probably like 1.5 times body weight. So that'd be like, I guess 260 plus. Like I love to power clean like what Isaiah's power cleaning. Like that would be like a long term goal. Um, uh, Deadlift, I'd want to get like 255. So 455. It's like I think 220 kilos or something like that. Um, or maybe that's a bit more. I don't know. I'm sorry. Forgive me. No, I'm not good with the conversion. Um, uh, yeah, and in terms of long-term goals with dunking, um, I'm definitely coming for that black band. Um, I do want to like sort of put like, I don't think I'm at that level just yet, but I want to try and like go for like 360 double between the legs. Because like that, I guess that's like a coveted dunk that everyone's like, it's I guess the impossible standard. Um, and yeah, Jay Clark has been a big motivator for me. So like the do the impossible, like I resonate with that quite a bit. Um, and I guess short term dunking goals, I've got a decent list, but it's all about it's all like different variations of like dunks that I've like already hit, but it's like I guess like combinations, like adding like a two-hand finish or adding like a scorpion finish, that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, and also 360 under both is definitely a dunk that I'd love to hit one day.
Yeah, bro, love it. Those are some good goals. But yeah, I think that wraps up this episode, guys. Thank you, Dan, for hopping on. It's super cool to hear about your story. I know a lot of people, love to hear about it. So yeah, guys, that wraps up this episode. If you're new, make sure to, subscribe, leave a good review, whatever, platform you're on. Make sure to go check Dan out. What's your Instagram?
At Dan Dunks underscore no caps.
There. Go check him out, guys. It's absolutely insane dunker. So again, thank you, Dan, for hopping on. And yeah, we'll see y'all later.
Thanks for having me.
Or